afternoon, everybody, and welcome inside the Burridge Gymnasium here in McMaster University in Hamilton, Ontario. We are mere minutes away from opening serve of what is the USports bronze medal match of the Men's Volleyball National Championship. I'm Jared Brown, and I'm joined by Tom McCabe. And Tom, these two teams came here looking for gold, but they will be playing their hearts out here for the bronze medal today.
Absolutely, we are in store for what should be a terrific matchup from two teams. No strangers to being in the championship round at the national championships. Two teams also very familiar, being ranked inside the top 10 all season long.
So here we go. First serve will be from the Golden Bears, and it's Alex McMullen on the line, and that serve sails long. First point of the afternoon goes to the Marauders, and we have a good-sized crowd here today for the bronze medal game. Of course, the hometown team, McMaster, who are looking to medal in their 6th consecutive national championship, which would be an incredible feat. They've won 6 straight OUA titles, now trying to do it on the national scene. Bennett Swan serve, taken by McMullen, not a great pass. Brisbane, high bump set, free ball coming over here to the McMaster side. Doty, pipe, Richards, huge dig, Schubert. Brisbane chases it down, but gets cut off by the scorekeeper's table, and it's a quick 2-0 lead for McMaster.
Nice back row run to Andrew Richards from Doty for the first McMaster kill of the match. Alberta yesterday in their semifinal match faced an onslaught of serving from the UBC Thunderbirds, perhaps the best serving team in the country, but not going to get much easier here today. McMaster also having a very good game from the service line, as we saw against the #1 seed Trinity Western Spartans in their semifinal match yesterday.
Richards, high ball set outside to Coppers, and Brandon Coppers, the 5th-year left side, puts that one down hard to the floor. And great start here for McMaster.
Brandon Coppers had a terrific match yesterday, 16 kills. He was a big part of that tough service game from the Marauders. 5 aces for him. He had 21.5 points.
Brisbane, high bump set outside. Gertz, power tip, covered there by Schubert. Brisbane goes back to Sandy. It's inside, and he looks to take a rip, but Coppers says, no, 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 no. Huge stuff block.
Doing his best Dikembe Mutombo impression. Very early timeout here from the visiting Golden Bears.
Yeah, that's the dream start for McMaster, and of course, they had a great start yesterday in that semifinal as well against Trinity Western, winning the first set, and pretty handily as well, convincing 25-17 victory. So starting off here, 4-0 right out of the gates. And Alberta, you know, I always say here, the interesting thing, and being as a coach involved in these games, Tom, and you know, in the past, is who can recover from the broken heart the fastest? And that's what Dan Gilbert, you know, the old webcast partner of mine here, used to always say, is these bronze medal games is not necessarily about who's the better team, it's who can recover from the broken heart the fastest. And sometimes it's about who loses first, right? McMaster played in that first semifinal at 6, Alberta played at 8. You know, there's more time for McMaster to kind of lick their wounds a little bit and say, okay, you know what, we wanted to be in the final, we were going for gold, but here we are, we're playing for bronze, especially playing at home in front of this crowd. A little bit more things in the advantage. But once the game gets going, it usually kind of settles in and becomes just a good volleyball match. So.
Yeah, absolutely. At this point in the year, Jared, it's not like there's one team heavily favored at all. We are in the bronze medal match deciding the 3rd best and 4th best team in the country. So definitely should be a close one, but a good point you make. Alberta with a much shorter turnaround from their loss yesterday against a very good UBC team. But I'm sure both teams would love to finish their season off with a win. Obviously for McMaster, the last time they were in a medal match on their home floor, as Coppers goes off the block for his 2nd kill of the match. Obviously last time McMaster played in front of this crowd in a medal match, they lost to the Trinity Western Spartans, settling for a silver medal. So I know they would love to finish their season with a win and a bronze medal here today. They were bronze medal winners last year at the national championship.
Well, regardless of the outcome, I think in team sports, as Chambers' tip falls to the floor, you always want to win your last game of the year. If you win your last game of the year, that means one of 3 things. You didn't make the playoffs, right? You finished 3rd, or you won gold, typically, right? I mean, I guess for Montreal, they finished 5th. Depends if it's a consolation side. But, you know, if you win your last game of the year, that's a good sign. And that's what Mac and Alberta are both trying to do here today, as Paslin out of the back row. And I think you made a great point about how there really aren't favorites and underdogs once you get to the Final Four, right? I mean, these were, there was probably 5 teams in that Montreal-McMaster quarterfinal was the one that was kind of up for debate. The other 3, I think most people kind of assumed Alberta, UBC, and Trinity would win. Not to take anything away from Queens, Windsor, and UNB. But the level of play we've seen this weekend has kind of solidified that. There was probably 4 or 5 teams all in the same picture. And there's talent just aplenty in all of these rosters. Multiple players who've worn them all Maple Leaf, and Richards we see there get the kill. And I think it just speaks volumes to the level of play of volleyball in the country, the development that's happening before the players even get to the university level, and then these university coaches taking them to that next level and hopefully being able to then go even further and represent Canada on the international stage. Coppers, who served well all weekend long, gets an ace off the arms of McMullen, and Alberta must feel like we've been here before. This first set, the onslaught, this is what happened yesterday as UBC served Alberta off the court on the first 2 sets. Alberta was able to catch up as the match went on, won the third, and then a very close 4th set as well that UBC pulled out. But here we are, 8-2. There's a substitution there. Checking in for the Bears is Carter McIntyre. McMullen takes a seat. Sani, bump set from Brisbane, and then Sani power tip. And it's amazing the power tip, how effective that's been from Sani. I think it's just because he's coming at it from just so high up in the air.
So high, and people so used to seeing him just absolutely blast the ball. It puts an insane amount of power behind his swings. And a really good job in that last play disguising the tip almost until the last moment, catching the McMaster defense on their heels.
Kodkevich on the 30, dug up by Schubert. Brisbane, Sani off the top of the block of Richards, taken there by the setter Doty. Coppers fakes the pipe, sets out to Passelin, and that's a highlight reel play. Throw that one on Instagram.
Great play there by Coppers. We've seen him do that a couple times and mix it up. Sometimes he goes up and he'll attack it. Other times, like we just saw in that last play, goes up and sets it. A few early kills here for Matt Passelin on the right side. Already with 2. He's really kind of found his footing as this tournament has gone on the right side. We've seen a bit of him. Also seen Craig Ireland mixed in that right side position. Mac with lots of options on the bench.
Sani on the pipe, goes long. Kodkevich will serve again. 10-3 advantage here from the Marauders, and Coach Davidoff maybe feeling some of that cold that we had talked about earlier here, wearing his winter coat on the sidelines. 10-3, and right now it's McMaster who's red hot. 7-point advantage.
Yeah, the serving McMaster early. Very similar to what we saw yesterday, getting them out to a very good start. Definitely going to need to sustain that pressure from the service line all afternoon if they want to come away with the medal. Also going to be really important, the more they can draw Alberta setter off the net, more predictable that offense is going to become. We'll see a lot of high balls going to the outside. You talked a lot yesterday, Jared, about how Alberta's offense is a bit more old school. They don't rely as much on speed as some of the other teams you might see in the tournament. You know, Montreal and Trinity Western both being teams who can run very fast through the back row, very fast in the front row. So as long as Matt can keep up that pressure and then read well on their blocks, they will have lots of time to get set up. But Alberta definitely attacks very well on the pins, in system or out of system, with Sani and McMullen especially.
Service ace there for McMaster as it's Kodkevich attacking down the line there on Gertz. And Alberta trying to stay positive here and find a way to get through this, but it's just an onslaught from McMaster. Kodkevich after Gertz again, and this time it's off the aerial, another ace, and we're going to see a substitution checking in here for Alberta. Number 2, Clark Spencer. Spencer listed as a setter in the program, but is going to come in here and play left side.
Well, trying to nail down some passing in the back row. Alberta just struggling to even get some offense going. Credit to McMaster for some tough serving early on.
Schubert, nice pass. They go back to Chambers on the split. And Chambers giving a quick yell through the net. He's showing some fight here.
Definitely lots of game left here for Alberta. Obviously a large gap to close currently, but they can make the adjustments. We saw Trinity Western make some real solid adjustments against McMaster from set to set. As it was McMaster serving again yesterday, that was the main cause of trouble for the Spartans, but we saw them kind of move the reception line a little deeper into the court, allow that serve to travel just a little further, have a little more time to see it. We'll see if Alberta makes any similar adjustments.
Doty's serve taken there by Schubert. Force 30 to Holborn. Diving attempt by Pereira, but can't come up with it. Side out Alberta. Holborn, he's a big man out there in the middle. I mentioned he's had some injury issues, so he's only in his second year of eligibility. He's been with the team for a few seasons. Now finally back out there and playing, which is great to see. Doty, middle to Swan, diving dig Schubert. McIntyre, high ball outside. Sani, off the top of the block, kept alive in the back row by Coppers, and they go back to him on the pipe, and he comes flying in there. And I must say, I've been very impressed with the level of play of Brandon Coppers in this tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. Brandon Coppers, one of the absolute anchors of this McMaster offense. Seen good playing time through his career here at Mac, and now this year, obviously, the offensive leader of this Marauder squad.
Oh, huge swing, Sani. What a great dig. Coppers puts it back over the net. Davidic looking for a 4 hits call, but doesn't get it.
Great dig, though, on the initial attack from Sani. Jordan Pereira, a player who knows Sani very well. They've played together on the beach quite a few times, as well as on the junior national team, so perhaps Pereira knowing some of his attacking tendencies.
Would have been club teammates with Pac-Man as well.
Yep.
18U season, lost in the national final to Fogg. Passalent down the line, and the Alberta block is on the net. I believe it was Clark Spencer. 15-6 is the advantage. 1 point away from the technical timeout in this opening set. It is Bennett Swan who will serve. Jump float. Passed up there by Schubert. He goes 60 to Holborn, off the shoulder of Swan.
Holborn and Chambers, two players very good in the middle. They had great opening matches against Queens in this tournament, combining well over for 12 kills and only 1 error between them. A bit quieter yesterday, as the serving was just a lot to handle. Weren't able to get passed up to the net, allowed them to run their options.
Kodkevich attack is dug up there by the middle Holborn. It's going to be a free ball opportunity coming here to the McMaster side. Doty quickly back to Passalent, and that's down for the kill. Matt Passalent, good start here, looking good early on. It's his 3rd point already. Head to the timeout, 16-7 Mac. It's been all Marauders early on.
Yeah, absolutely. Mentioned a few times already serving early on, and now their offense has really started to get rolling here. Some good kills early on. Coppers leading the way with 4 points. Passalent right behind him with 3. Dave Doty doing a really good job distributing the ball for the McMaster Marauders. Especially impressed with Doty's ability in transition to run the back row attacks. We've mentioned a few times in the Max matches this weekend about how they really do a good job of, changing up on the fly mid-rally, depending on where the ball goes. We saw a few points ago, Doty kind of came middle of the court. Coppers some good communication, ended up running that kind of 60 pipe behind him. And earlier in the match with Doty right up at the net, able to run sort of that straight up pipe with Andrew Richards. So we see a lot of versatility in this McMaster offense to change it up where they're setting those back row attacks.
So out of the timeout, it's Passalent who will serve. 9-point lead. Big spin serve, finds the corner. And we saw this yesterday in the first set, Mac against Trinity, right? The ability to, and I think the serving has been the story for me of a lot of the success of these teams in the tournament, is the ability to go back there and generate that offense from the service line. As another tough serve results in an overbump, free ball opportunity here. Coppers, and Coppers goes off that hand of Sani and wide, and Coppers continues to just roll here. That's his 5th point already in this first set.
Kodkevich doing a great job in the middle in the last one, holding the middle just a little bit, just enough to give Coppers some room in between the block to work with.
Passalent almost done in by his own good serve there as it came back over the net, right to the spot where he would normally play defense. It's great hustle, and it's finished off with another kill on the Mac side. This is getting close to a pizza game here. If you win under 10, you got to buy your team pizza. And honestly, I wouldn't say that Alberta is playing poorly. It's just the huge serves, and Mac is just non-stop offense. They just are not letting up at all. Chambers trying to get his team going here. Kill in the middle. Chambers in his 5th and final season. Kinesiology studies student, as a majority of this roster is actually from Alberta. Half the team. Sani now goes back to serve. Big bomb serve. Goes over the net. And Gertz blocked by Doty.
Great reaction by Doty, just turning, going straight up, and shutting the door.
20-8. It's an all-Mac here early on. But I will say that Alberta, they're in the same situation yesterday against UBC, and they continue to fight and battle their way back into that game. So nobody's given up here, that's for sure, as Gertz goes off the block, dug up by Coppers. Doty, 60 to Kotkevich. Dug up there by McIntyre. Brisbane off the net, back row Sani. Down the line, Pereira with the dig. Doty, 60 pipe to Coppers, and Brandon Coppers, he is on fire.
Brandon Coppers can't miss right now. Love the choice, great dig from Pereira. Transition, almost a perfect dig up to Doty. And great speed on the back row pipe to Coppers as he goes back to serve. 7 points already in this set.
The national team's probably excited about Brandon Coppers moving forward. I would be. Gertz off the block and wide. I mean, he's got that international size, right? He's got the build. We've seen the success that Mar has had, you know, Mac grad, being able to step into the program after one season playing pro, and now Coppers, I'm sure, will be looking to follow in that same pattern. Doty looks to wipe off the block, kept alive by Sani. Brisbane, middle. And Chambers having himself a good first set. They haven't been able to run the middle a lot, but when they have, it's scored almost every time.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been able to capitalize on most of the opportunities they've given their middles, but sort of similar, very similar narrative to yesterday. Just need to improve their passing just a little bit and increase the amount of opportunity they have to run that middle, which is very strong for Alberta.
Richards, left side. Schubert got a piece into the back wall. Side out Mac, 22-10. And now going back to serve, it will be Kotkevich. 12-point lead. Jump float, goes long. If you were to venture a guess, Tom, if you look at the tournament as a whole, do you think there's been more errors on jump floats or big spin serves?
I'd probably say jump floats.
Yep, I'd agree.
Especially in the game we saw yesterday, Trinity Western missed a ton of serves.
Yep.
You know, Mac was very good from the serving line. On the flip side, Trinity was not. And that was something Ben Josephine was very open about and said, yeah, we really struggled to receive serve, and we struggled ourselves to actually serve the ball. So a lot of missed serves, I would say, have come via the float serve, especially out the back is ones I've noticed.
Yep.
A lot more of this gym tends to carry some balls long, so.
I mean, in fairness, there are more, in the tournament, more jump float style servers.
Very true.
The big aggressive spin serve, but you know, I think a lot of times we equate that high risk is on the spin serve as Chambers continues to be effective, but you can still be an aggressive, you can go after it with a jump float. It doesn't always necessarily have to be just because of spin serve, but I know that 2 years ago when the tournament was here, a lot of the coaches felt that there were some, you know, I said, okay, look up at the flag, not as waving around as much today as we saw earlier, but there were a lot of air currents that whip around in this gym, and on those jump float serves, because of that, they can be missed, but they also can be very dangerous and be very effective. The air currents, they're not really going to affect a big spin serve too much, right? It's going to cut through the air when it has that top spin. It's cutting through the air, but the float serve obviously can get up in the air and move around. So 23-13 after the side out, Doty goes back to serve. Jump float taken there by Gertz. Back to Sani. And Sani, the Ontario product who headed west to Alberta, gets the kill.
Sani led the Golden Bears yesterday, 15 kills, which is the game high, earning player of the game honors for Alberta.
A couple of the hecklers out here on that one, but Brisbane gets a tough serve and a great save by Pereira, who seems to always be flailing around back there somewhere, saving the ball. And then a miss hit out of bounds, so we now have a set point opportunity. Daft Punk brings us into set points. 10-point lead, 24-14. Big rip, Richards, nice pass by McIntyre. Brisbane goes up to get it, and Sani on the 360 tip there. And then Passelant in a little bit too early, just sets it over, taken by Holborn. Brisbane goes back to Holborn, tip shot, dug up there by Pereira. Doty, pipe, Richards, soft block, taken there by Passelant. Doty, back to Passelant, And Brisbane digs it into the net, and McIntyre can't come up with it. And that'll do it for set number 1, the 6th kill of the set for Matt Paslin. 25-14 for McMaster, and they lead 1-0 in this USports bronze medal match here at the National Championship in Hamilton.
Really like the decision on that last play by Doty, flicking it back right side in transition. He could have gone outside to Coppers. He's been their strongest attacker in this opening set, but elected to try to keep it a little quicker.
So we are going to step aside, and we will be back with you for the start of the second set at the USports Men's Volleyball National Championship.
Every day is a chance to flip the script, an invitation to take everything we know and reinvent it. It takes courage. It's an obsession. Never settling for just good enough. It takes a true creator to make something out of nothing. It takes guts. Calling all creators. Those who see obstacles as a chance to win bigger. Calling all creators. The changers. The difference makers. The boundary breakers. The tomorrow takers. Calling all creators. Get up. Invent. Adapt. Write new rules. Calling all creators. It's a new day. Create something.
Welcome back inside the Burge Gymnasium here in Hamilton, Ontario at McMaster University. Jared Brown, Tom McCabe, watching the USports National Championship. And Tom, some interesting information for us here after the first set.
Yeah, the main thing really sticking out, obviously, as you could see, was McMaster serving 4 aces in that opening set. Brendan Copper's a perfect 6 for 6 offensively, leading the way. Actually, co-leader with Matt Paslin. We see some offensive highlights here from the Marauders. Doty doing a good job spreading the ball around, really incorporating that back row attack at times, and of course that beautiful play from Coppers, faking the pipe attack, then going outside at the last second to Paslin. Alberta's block not able to recover, and Jared, we were talking just in between sets here, very similar narratives for both teams that, you know, we sort of saw after the first set yesterday as well. Matt cruised to a first set win against Trinity, then kind of Trinity made the proper adjustments, were able to get themselves back into the game, whereas Alberta against UBC, they just struggled to pass the ball. They weren't playing overly poorly. Their offense is pretty good. Alberta had 14 points in that first set, 12 kills, so their offense has been rolling pretty well. Only 4 errors, have a very respectable hitting percentage. Aaron Chambers in the middle leading the way with 4 kills. He was kind of the spark plug trying to get Alberta going late in that set, but very similar, you know, storylines moving into the second set that we saw yesterday.
I think it's just a quite impressive Mac. No attack errors, 15 for 22. That's an incredible stat. There's their first attack error as Richards is over the attack line, back row violation. I wonder if they actually, the stats, did they classify that as an error on the stats?
Not sure. Be happy to have someone fact check that for us at home, but
I assume they would. Coppers off the block. I mean, every point has to have an ending, right? So when you're entering it there, I think that would be the only way you would enter it is an error.
I would think so.
But yet to still make a hitting error, we'll say.
An unforced error while in the air attacking the ball.
Yeah.
There we go.
Paslin with the serve. Brisbane quickly back to McMullen, and McMullen, who was subbed out fairly early in that first set, is back out here, and Again, we're seeing that power tip by Sandy and how effective it is. Doty tried to get that ball, but can't come up with it. Passelant really had nowhere to go. The angle's just not in their favor to try to get that ball over the net. So it's a 3-1 advantage here for Alberta as McMullen goes back to serve. Passed up there by Coppers. Doty, 30 to Kodkevich, and Holborn's there. Set was just a little bit too low and really nowhere to go. Holborn was all over it. So a good response here early on in the second set from Alberta. There's a lot of character, a lot of veterans on this Alberta team. They're not going to just go away because they lost one set. High bumps it outside from Pereira to Coppers. Tipped down the line, taken there by McMullen. Kept alive McIntyre. Sani into the aerial, side out.
Great set by Schubert to the outside of Sandy, giving him lots of time, but Sandy just mishit it a little bit into that aerial for Mac point, but good start here for Alberta. Jumping out to a lead, similar to the lead we saw Mac have in the first set, but still lots of time here. Coppers knew a missed serve was coming after.
Interesting here yesterday on the board when we talked about who would win the most CIS championships. Alberta with 8, but I think the question was men's and women's combined, because I know Winnipeg and Manitoba both have 10. And I'd believe that because I know the Pandas of Alberta went on that massive run where they won quite a few consecutively in a row, and they're going for another one today actually, as they will take on Tom McCabe's Ryerson Rams, the women's final. Great cover there by Pereira. High ball set outside to Sani. Great cover again. Sani's going to swing one more time, and this time he tips down the line. Pereira's there. Go all the way back across to Passelant. Brisbane with the dig. Holborn's going to show off the big mitts to McIntyre, and McIntyre finds the corner. Pereira was diving to get out of the way, and it finds the corner, much to the delight of the small but strong Alberta cheering section. They're definitely outnumbered here today, much like Trinity was yesterday. 6-2 Golden Bears. Holborn, jump float. Pass by Pereira. It's tight and wide, so Doty does a good job to keep it alive. And then Passelant sets it over, and some miscommunication by the Alberta defense.
Kill is a kill in the good old sport of volleyball. Passelant using 2 hands and just being careful, but able to find the floor on that one. He'll happily take that one.
At the end of the game, it doesn't say which ones you hit and which ones you set. Like he said, it's still a kill. That ball hit on the 30 from Chambers, and it was a little bit too low. He couldn't do much with it. That's his first error.
Looking like he was just sort of hoping to cut that ball back to position 1, but yeah, set just a little bit low, and the angle he hit it at forces it out of bounds.
McMullen's going to bump it high outside to McIntyre. McIntyre, soft blocked. Brisbane goes back to him on the left, and that's going to be a 2 hits violation on McIntyre. And now we're going to see a substitution checking here for the Bears. Number 1, Max Elgert. Brisbane will take a seat.
So Elgert come into the game yesterday against the Thunderbirds and did a really great job taking over for Brisbane.
They definitely share the setting responsibilities pretty evenly, it seems. Brisbane plays a little bit more, but they're quick to go to Elgert as Richards converts on that one. Hard swing. And we're tied up at 6.
Richards with just 1 blocker on the outside, Sandy. Great cross-court shot where Chambers was hoping to have been, but good draw in the middle by Bennett Swan.
So we're tied up. Mac has clawed their way back after a good early start from Alberta. McMullen's pass is tight. Elgert goes to get it. Tries to set the pipe to McMullen. Just nowhere for him to go. Coach Daviduck is up on his feet. He's not happy with these last string of points here.
It looked like Elgert just forced that pipe a little bit there. He was falling backwards. Tough set to make.
Schubert's pass off the net. Elgert, high ball across to McIntyre. And Richards, great dig. McIntyre, though, is right there waiting for it and tips it down again. But what a great initial dig there by Andrew Richards.
Andrew Richards, such a talented defender in addition to being very efficient attacker, one of the best all-around players we've seen throughout this tournament.
Yeah, I'd make a case that he might be the best all-around player, all skills considered, in the tournament. I'm sure he'd get, there are a lot of rivals out there for sure, but Coppers out of the back row, and Coppers, as far as attacking goes, he is just on fire. They haven't had an answer to slow him down.
Not at all. Alberta really going to have to try to key on him. Try to just, for the most part, just slow down the attack any way you can with some block touches. Make it easier for your defense to dig that ball.
Based on the stats that we have, as McIntyre gets a kill, I believe Coppers now is 7 for 7 with no attack errors and no play continues. I mean, you don't want to, it's a little early in the game to be thinking about that, but I mean, that's a ridiculous clip.
Yeah, absolutely. Only one service error, one service ace as well, so a great outing from him already.
I remember probably about 10 years ago or so, Stanford won the men's national championship NCAA, and their left side hitter, Brad, I can't remember his last name at the moment, to the tip of my tongue. Brad, didn't have one attacker. I want to say something like 20 for 23 or something like that on the left side for Stanford. They won the national championship.
Obviously, error is a part of the game, but when you have someone as experienced as Coppers and as talented on a stage like this, he's going to want to put his best effort out.
Bennett Swan gets the kill. And Coach Davidic will call timeout, with the score being 11-8 here for McMaster.
A 10-4 run here for McMaster, is giving them a 3-point lead here. So we see the first timeout taken by Alberta. Alberta just kind of continuing to struggle a bit. We see some more replays on that nice set outside to Richards. Brendan Copper's just been a force in the early going, front row, back row, as well from the service line. Looking to take McMaster to a 7th straight national medal and a 2nd straight bronze medal. Terrific program that Dave Preston is the leader of.
And the thing about that run they were on, that 5-year run, was the core of that group that all came in together at the same time, right? And you had Doty, or sorry, not Doty. You had Marr and McCarthy, and Demienko. Coker came in the year after because he had to sit out a year, right? Austin Campion-Smith, I think, was still here at the time setting, but that was that big core that all came in, and now this is the first year without those players as Passon goes into the aerial. This is kind of that next generation of players, right? And a lot of them obviously played with those players, but to medal again here and keep that streak going with a new run and a new generation would be even that much more impressive. And that's what Alberta's obviously trying to do here too. The first year without that group of Walsh and Taylor Arnett and Reed May. Coppers tips that one down off the block, and that's ultimately to me the sign of the top flight, top level programs. I think, not saying anybody can win, but you can go through and you have a great cycle, but it's continually year after year after year with different players. As players graduate, new players come in, to continually be in this same position. That's the elite of the elite. If you look back over the years, you've seen teams that have the one-offs, right, that kind of come in and do great things and have great results with one particular group. But the ability to do it after losing graduating players, that's the sign of a true elite program. And that's these 4 teams here. You have to give credit to all of them that are in the Final Four, right? All Final Four last year, every team lost a big part of their group, except for UBC. They added, right? UBC, they added pieces, and now that's why they're here in the gold medal game this year, as opposed to finishing 4th last year.
Yeah, just to finish on your point, Jared, I mean, terrific sign whenever you can have players that can come in, fill the role of former starting players. We see a beautiful double block. Kodkevich shutting the door there on Sandy on the outside. But you have players from McMaster like Paslin, players like Dave Doty, highly sought after recruits coming out of high school, and their ability to step in their very first year. So Not only is it impressive for the programs to put players out on the floor who can fill the void, but also it's impressive the ability of those incoming players making the transition from club, from high school volleyball to the U-Sport level, and immediately being able to hold their own and to help compete.
And going back to serve is McMullen. And should mention Brisbane has checked back in for Elgert. Coach Preston a lot more animated today than he has been earlier in the tournament. And he knows obviously what's on the line of continuing to go towards this medal streak here, especially at home. Dug up there by Pereira. Middle, Godkevich, and that's the irony of team sports where I've always said, you know, silver medal is such an empty feeling sometimes, right? At the moment, you know, you win bronze, you win, right?
Yeah.
So you lose the silver, you win the bronze. Whereas, say, in the 100-meter dash, if you finish second, you know, you're just so excited, right? You probably ran one of your best personal times, right? You probably was close, you know, obviously gold and silver to be close. The Scoppers gets an ace, but you feel really good because you didn't lose per se, right? Somebody was just a little bit faster than you. So it'd be interesting dynamic of this MAC team if they are able to win bronze today on their court here, right? Compared to 2 years ago when they lost the final to Trinity Western. Even though the medal, you know, in theory you're finishing higher, it's a better result. It's just a much different feeling of how you walk away from things. But bronze also has its challenges, right? Where you kind of think, oh man, we should have been in the final, right? That's always the way people think, right? We could have been in the final. I wish we were in the final. But bronze medal, it's something that is still a great way to end the season, and I'd certainly much rather win the bronze than lose 2 games to end the season, right? That's the nice thing is obviously if you're playing for bronze, you would have lost the game previously, and it's that ability to recover and bounce back the next day and try to finish your season with a win, and that's what these 2 teams are trying to do here today. And so far to this point, it has been MAC who has been the stronger team, led by Coppers, who has 11 points now. And again, Alberta still attacking at a high rate. Just the serving of McMaster continues to put Alberta in some trouble. Coppers will serve after the timeout, 16-11. Another huge rip, pass there by Schubert. Outside, soft block Kokevich. Holborn's gonna set high ball to McIntyre. Cross court, goes back to the Alberta side. Brisbane goes middle to Holborn, and these Alberta middles, I mean, they're elite. There's no doubt about that. Whenever they've been able to get them the ball this whole tournament, they've been very effective.
Yeah, and especially important being able to run middle in transition effectively, as we just saw there with the real nice run to Holborn. Holborn now with 5 points in the match for the Golden Bears.
A missed pass there from Pereira. They go backward to Paslant, and not sure the Alberta block caught a little bit confused on that one. Not quite sure what happened there.
Like the aggression though, nonetheless, from Paslant to go up and put a good swing on that one. Even if you're not always going to have a perfect attack, really crucial to at least have the appearance that you will have an attack. And Paslant going up there and realizing he had a pretty good ball in the out-of-system set from Richards.
Sani on the right, power tip. And there's almost not a defense. You know, when you're so high like that, you can be so aggressive, but he really uses that shot quite a bit.
And he can use it in multiple ways, either off the block or straight down like we just saw. Also seen him throw it deep a few times.
Good job by Paslant getting out of the way. 18-13. The laugh of Vincent Price fills the gym here. Clipped out from Michael Jackson's Thriller. 5-point advantage. David Doty. Pass from Schubert over the net. McMullen steps in to set McIntyre. 3-man block. And he goes off the block and wide. It was Richards who would come all the way across, whose hand he used. And we see a substitution here. McIntyre will sit down and Gertz will check in. I think Gertz really played quite well yesterday against UBC. Gertz not as much of an offensive player for Alberta. They use him a bit more passing defense, but he really had a great game offensively yesterday. Played quite well.
A great job by the sub who just went out of the game. Great dig there by Gertz. But McIntyre, he's had a lot of A lot of reps early on, especially out of system. He's done a fairly good job.
Great job by Brisbane coming across. Be a high ball to Sandy out of the back row, and that one's mishit. But when I say not as offensive, I think it's important to clarify that. I mean, every player at this level, they can all hit, right? They can all attack. It's just the role that they're called upon on this team with the current teammates that they have. His number doesn't get called as much with McMullen in the middles and Sandy obviously leading the way. Richard serve, goes right after McIntyre, sub back in, and Coppers puts that one down. Coppers now with 12 points, and Alberta will call their second and final timeout, trailing 20-14.
McMaster really right now just firing on all cylinders. Their serving has been terrific. They've passed the ball well, they've attacked the ball well, blocked incredibly well, and their defense has been spectacular. Another well-rounded Marauders team we're seeing here on a championship Sunday. We see all our volunteers and officials, sorry, most of the officials wearing their nice Sunday red.
Yeah, Tiger Woods inspired, I guess, wearing the red polo. Kyle Campo looking good in his red, doing the PA announcing here. Kyle been chipping in on the webcast and some announcing here the first 2 days, but doing just straight PA today. I would put it out there to you, Tom. I know that you weren't here 2 years ago, but I feel like this McMaster team this year is a bit more well-rounded than the one 2 years ago. The one 2 years ago really came in with a lot of hype, obviously well-deserved. Not saying they were overhyped whatsoever. They're a great team as Brisbane and McMullen crash into each other. But Mar was such a huge part of the offense, right? And I think this team almost maybe underhyped a little bit, really, from what I've seen all year. They weren't ranked as high. Didn't hear as much about them throughout this course of the season, and I think some of that is they didn't play some of the teams in the preseason. So with the way those rankings work, right? They didn't play some of the Western teams. It was harder for them to move up the rankings. They went to Poland, played some of the American NCAA teams, and pursued some different opportunities to prepare in their season. And then they lost the first game of the year, right? That first weekend to Ryerson.
That first game to Ryerson really kind of made a lot of people think, oh, maybe this isn't that dominant McMaster team we're accustomed to seeing in the OUA, but they went on an absolute tear from there. They only lost one other match all year, which is to a very good Western Mustangs team.
So, they kind of came in here a little bit maybe thinking maybe they weren't as strong as they have been in past years, but I would completely disagree. I think this team is as close to the top of the teams in the country as they've been in any years in the past, and that's why obviously they're looking so good here right now. I mean, this Alberta team, they've been ranked near the top all year, and Mac right now having their way through almost 2 sets. I mean, just playing fantastic. Mac just not making any mistakes, and again, I don't think Alberta, they've a little bit more sloppy in this second set than the first, but it's just been, Mac has just been too good so far as they lead 22-15 here in the second. Schubert, not a great pass, bumps it outside, and it's the block of Kotkevich and Passelant on McMullen, 23-15.
On that last play there, not an overly aggressive serve coming in from Bennett Swan, the rookie, but still enough to kind of tie up the libero a little bit, forcing not a normal set, and results in a great block from Kotkevich as he goes back-to-back there with another shutdown.
Daft Punk is playing, which means it must be set point for Mac. See Brandon Coppers, he's just having a ball out there. He seems to be just really enjoying himself. His last game with the Marauders, last game here at the Burge Gymnasium, wants to go out in style, but that serve from Swan goes into the net. Swan's gonna have many more games. And that's, when you're in your first year, I think sometimes you don't understand how hard it is, right? You kind of come in your first year and, hey, yeah, we're, here we are. We're in the, in the semifinals. We're playing for bronze, and with these veteran players, right? They know, this isn't easy. You're not going to get here necessarily every single year. So it's kind of that process of them explaining to them, hey, this is something we got to play. We got to go for bronze right now. You might not get back to this point the rest of your career, as we see Passelant get the kill, 25-16. But that winning, it's infectious, right? Once you get to this point in your first season, you want it every single year. You want to get back. You want to do better. You want to get to the final next year if you here in the semifinals and bronze medal game this year. So Mac leads 2-0. They are absolutely rolling. Brandon Coppers has been on fire, and they are 1 set away from claiming the USports bronze medal on their home court. We will step aside, take a quick break, and be back with you for the start of the third set, the men's national championship. Welcome back inside the Burge Gymnasium. It's 2-0 McMaster. Alberta will need this third set to extend their season as they will try to come back here in this bronze medal match. It's been all McMaster so far to this point, 25-14, 25-16. They cooled off a little bit. They really couldn't keep that same pace. They hit 68% in the first set, which is just incredible. 15 for 22 with no errors. Second set, 286, which is still obviously a great clip to be at. 11 kills, 3 errors on 28 attempts. But Brandon Coppers having himself a fantastic match, 10 for 14 with no errors. So 71% for an outside hitter. He is trying to end his career in style. Richards chipping in with 5, Paslin with 9. Swan and Klodkevich each with 1. On the Alberta side, Holborn and Chambers 4 for 7, 1 error, the same numbers for the two middles, but their outside hitters haven't been able to get things going as Sani's actually in the negative so far. 5 kills, 6 errors on 25 attempts. So he's getting a huge workload, but not able to convert so far in this match, and Sani's been so good through the first 2 sets, but through the first 2 matches of the tournament, but struggling a little bit today. And Mac also chipping in with 6 aces compared to 1 for Alberta. So Alberta continues to lose that serve and receive battle a little bit, as yesterday that was the big difference there. They were, was it minus 17, Tom?
At least.
In the ace to air ratio, where UBC was +1 with 17 aces, which is pretty impressive, as Richards' pipe wasn't touched, so it looked like it was going to come back for 4 hits on the Mac side, but it got a friendly roll off the tape and down.
Kind of seems to be the game McMaster's having today. Even when they don't get their cleanest attack, they're still able to find ways to score. So on that last play there, ball rolling over the tape, and Matt Paslin as he served. Service ace, he had that free ball kill a few sets ago.
3-1 Mac. They're just picking up right where they left off, another ace. Mac also has 5 total team blocks, Alberta with 1. We said Alberta attacked very well in the first set, considering the score, losing 25-14, still 12 kills, 296 efficiency, as another ace for Paslin, but in the second set, slowed down considerably, 10 and 8 on 37 attempts.
Paslin now catching up to game leader Brendan Coppers in total points, 11 for him.
Paslin who is a local product. He is from Hamilton.
Paslin, perhaps the most dominant, single dominant high school player I ever played against. I remember we played him in the OFSA pool play when I was in grade 12, and he didn't have the strongest team around him, but he was one of those players who could just single-handedly dominate a match. I know Dave Preston attended a lot of their practices, really wanted to get him into the McMaster program, and he stepped in, and he's one of those players, talk about year one, he came in and played a role. Then obviously moved on, has had some time with the junior national team. So we're going to take a look at some more highlights from McMaster, who's just dominated all game long. Just mentioned the man himself there, Matt Paslin. Kokevich as well, been a really, I think one of the more underrated middles in this tournament. Doesn't have that physical size to him that you see on some guys like teams like Montreal, but he's been such a solid piece in the middle over his time here at McMaster. Part of lots of winning teams. Another one of those quiet leaders that you see for the Marauders.
Just looking through the McMaster roster, I mean, they are losing Coppers off this team, but they're going to be a very dangerous team next season as they're returning a big portion of this roster. And Brandon Coppers, if this is a victory lap, it's a good one. I mean, this is got to be one of the best games of his career, I would bet. He's just on fire.
Yeah, he is absolutely rolling right now, waving goodbye to McMullen as he subs out. And then will come.
Tonight, first saw Brandon Coppers play in person, 18U quarterfinal. I told that story yesterday, just playing with Pac-Man against Winman, and it's one of those games just has that buzz to it. When you go to Club Nationals and everybody's watching one court, the whole place, it seems like, is focused on one court. That was that match, and he was incredible, and Winman ended up winning that game and went on to win the national championship. Schreimer was the setter on that team, Adam Schreimer, and amazing how those connections, you still go against each other here 5 years later as Trinity defeated McMaster yesterday. But Coppers makes his first error of the game. That's his first mistake on the attack. But it was a good shot, just missed the corner. I think he's earned enough points here that he's allowed to make one mistake.
I think he's allowed to get away with at least one, you think. As it's Gertz back to serve. He was one who checked in for McMullen a few points ago. Gertz, an impressive contribution off the bench yesterday. He had 11 kills.
I think the big thing with Coppers too is that we did that game on Friday night, and he wasn't able to score. He was hitting good shots, right? But Montreal was doing a good job defending him, and he kind of started finding different ways. It wasn't always necessarily with the power. He was mixing things up a little bit, and then as the match went on, he really got into a groove. He continued that yesterday, and now today he is playing just fantastic. Goes back to the line and puts that serve into the net.
Well, his second error of the day from the service line. So he's sitting at a net of 0 with 2 aces.
Coppers a 6'8" left side, so we discuss how the kind of international frame, and as great of a player that Andrew Richards is, right? I mean, a fantastic player. You don't see as many players at the international level with his build, right? It's obviously there are players out there and they can be effective, but when you kind of project to that next level, and that's obviously a big piece about what's going on here is, you're trying to develop athletes within your program for team success, but the other part of it that you're working on at the same time is trying to develop their game so they can go play afterwards, whether it be pro or at the national team level, hopefully with Team Canada. And Coppers certainly will be moving on to both of those, I'm sure, if he would like to. And that's always the thing. Sometimes players, they have other interests, and we discussed that a little bit with our friends from Montreal about how some of the players just either mentioning the libero from Laval, right, who was a doctor.
Yeah.
Right, he was saying, and so they wanted him to go play pro, and he said, no, I have this other passion, right? I have my education piece that I'm wanting to pursue, and obviously at peace with that, had a great career, and then saying, no, I'm now pursuing my professional side of things, and you can't play volleyball forever. You can play after university, but at some point, that's another piece, that student-athlete piece. For our country, I hope Coppers plans to continue playing after this season somewhere. I'm sure we will hear those details in the near future. Sani out of the back row and dug up there. Richards just hit wide. And I think the Alberta players maybe had something to say after that when Richards kind of goes to the net and says, hey, look, there's no need for that. Almost immediately. I think it was Chambers. (10-6). That serve sails long. You know, it's always that kind of fine line, I guess, right? Where because we are separated on our sides, right? You don't get a lot of that like in other sports. I mean, it's pretty much nonstop.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it never ends.
Yeah.
Football, basketball, hockey, you know, you're constantly kind of in each other's ear. And volleyball, they're just, the culture of the sport is that it's just not really tolerated, right? And, you know, there's some things that go back and forth, but it's just part of the sport you don't hear a lot of. Richards absolutely tattoos that pipe. A great run there by Andrew Richards.
No trash talk needed there from Andrew Richards, a guy who really likes to let his play speak for himself. Great attack win out of the back rows. We've seen already a few times from him today.
And Alberta will call their second and final timeout. And Coach Preston is pretty fired up. He said he's had a different type of kind of air to him today than I've seen in the past. It's really like kind of almost like this aggression to him, you know, where he really wants this medal. And you know, the team's almost kind of playing that same way too, right? A little bit angry, right? That kind of chip on their shoulder, like, you know, playing at home here in this situation. And you know, we never know where the Nationals will be too far in the future. Next year, the men's Nationals will go to Laval. But taking full advantage of the opportunity here to play one more game on their home court in this season.
As you saw there, just in the timeout, some defensive highlights from the Golden Bears. They have, you know, they've scrapped well defensively, but is not able to turn some of those digs into some transition offense, which I think is something the Marauders have done a much better job of.
Gertz, soft blocked by Swan, covered nicely. They go bump set, back row to McIntyre, and McIntyre gets the kill. And it'll be going back to serve. It will be number 13, Chambers. Aaron Chambers, who was kind of an emergency injury fill-in 2 years ago here at this tournament. Came off the bench and played really well as there was an injury in the middle, and now a full-time starter playing really well. Coppers, soft blocked, but kept alive. Back to Sani. Goes back to the Alberta side, kept alive there by Chambers. Middle, Holborn, Pereira with the cover. Back to Passelin, and Passelin over top and down. I think Passelin having his best game of the weekend today.
I would definitely say so, and right there we saw a great example of McMaster slowing the attack down from Sani a few times with the block and then slowing it down on the outside and able to convert those opportunities into some offense. Passelin now with 12 points, tying the game high with his teammate Coppers.
Nice kill there by Sani. Passelin, it must be a neat feeling to be from Hamilton and go to your hometown university and then be playing. We talked about those players who, you know, see being younger and right and kind of working their way up. I'm sure as a real youngster probably would have been here when the tournament was here in 2006, 2007. And
attended some summer camps with McMaster.
Yeah, absolutely. Diving attempt there from Doty, but can't come up with it. And I think there's always that special piece when you are a hometown player, right, to go to your own university and, you know, to kind of have that connection. It just makes it just that little bit more special. As Elgert puts that serve long, he would be another hometown player from Edmonton. Now it's Passelin who will go back to the line. 14-9 is the advantage. Back up 2 sets to none, 1 set away from trying to claim this bronze medal. Kodkevich with the pass. Doty goes back row to Passelin, and Passelin just wide. It was good on the long side, but I think just out wide.
Just a bit outside. Mac now looking to push here, get to that technical timeout with as wide a gap as they can get to.
That serve sails long, 15-10. And it'll be Coppers who goes back to the line, looking to serve his team into the technical timeout. 5-point advantage. Coppers has served so well today and all weekend long, really. Goes after that one, taken there by Schubert. Outside to Sani, and Sani sets it over. Passlin keeps it alive. Richards, left side, roll shot. Elgert quickly back to McIntyre and kept alive on the Mac side. Good tennis shot there by Pereira. Good warm-up game in volleyball. Coppers goes all the way back across to Passlin. Great bump set, and it goes down for the kill. You know it's your day when that kind of rally is converting in your favor. Coach Preston real fired up about that one. 16-10. Marauders as the teams clear off the floor. And it's looking like we could be headed towards 6 straight USports medals for the McMaster Marauders.
They don't want to jinx it too early. Knock on some wood here as our broadcaster's jinx has proven to be a bit dangerous this weekend, but that was only one single point taking them into the technical timeout, but a huge momentum point for McMaster. As they hold serve, they're going to still have Coppers on the line coming out of it. And really just their offense, especially Matt Passlin, as you see on your screen right now, been dominating from the right side. Huge offensive weapon who, like we said, really came alive. He struggled a lot in their first game against Montreal, and then we saw him get subbed out yesterday as well against Trinity Western for Craig Ireland, but he has stepped in today, really elevated his play, been a huge contributing piece for McMaster all afternoon.
(16-10), Coppers will serve after the timeout. Be sure not to go anywhere. At the completion of this match, there will be a bronze medal presentation, which I'm sure we will stick with you for. And then obviously there's a huge game coming up after this one. Oh, just missed on that pipe set there, so Alberta's going to have a chance for a free look. We go back to Sani, and Sani off the block and down. And that's what's so special about today. The games just keep getting better and better. We had that 5th place game, Montreal taking down UNB. We've been treated to really good volleyball here with McMaster and Alberta, but the treat of the day obviously is that 4 o'clock final, UBC and Trinity Western, the all West final, province of BC, both teams. Pereira bump set back to Richards, off the top hand of Chambers, dug up by Holborn, back to Sani, and Sani dug by Coppers. Passlin, back row, off the hands and down. And just with each point here, just getting closer and closer, just keeping it going 1 point at a time.
Passlin leading the way now, overtaking Coppers, who's got 14 points in this match. Into double digits with kills, as well as 3 aces he's added.
Elgert, middle to Chambers, and Chambers continues to be great today. I think Swan played quite a bit this season, somewhat unexpectedly, I think, with some injuries. And that obviously you get thrown into the fire right away. Huge for his development, though, moving forward. He's been really good all weekend long, I think.
Absolutely.
Richards over top of the middle. Just a free ball opportunity coming here to the Marauders side. Pass a little bit off the net. They go pipe back to Coppers, and he unleashes, but what a dig by Sani. Pereira keeps it alive. Passlin, back row. Another dig by Sani. Schubert chases it down. See if they can find Coppers here. No, they go back to Passlin. And McMullen, another dig. Great rally here. Sani blocked by Richards. And could that be the nail in the coffin as Andrew Richards gets Tariq Sani? Great rally all around.
Terrific defense by both sides. We've talked a lot this weekend about the offense of Tariq Sani, but also the team leader in digs. Very good defensive player to go along with his offensive capability. Obviously, McMaster winning the defensive battle there, and a great block to end the rally.
Sani gets the kill there, and Sani doing his best to try to keep this Alberta team in it, but I mean, it's just been all McMaster today. It's been very impressive. And it just haven't let up. You know, they just really haven't given Alberta any room to breathe here in this bronze medal match. That serve, just long. Point for Mac.
McMaster definitely now, as I said before, that finish line in sight for them. They've got a solid gap right now. They can just be ideal if they could hold serve until the very end, but they have been playing side out very well. They're going to have to do now with the kill by McMullen on the outside.
19-14 Marauders. It's a 5-point advantage with Chambers on the line. That pass went a little bit backwards. High ball outside to Coppers. Power tip. Coming back to the Marauders side here. Doty, Coppers. Put down to the floor. And Brandon Coppers is probably, you know, one of those situations where each point you score, it's one less point you have left in your career, but he's certainly going out in style. Quite possibly one of the best games of Brandon Coppers' career for the fifth-year left side. Swan serve wide. He just wants one more opportunity for Coppers to get a kill here, maybe.
It seems to be.
Doing his teammate a favor. Elgert goes back to the line. Spin serve, pass there by Richards. Coppers, and Coppers again. And it's this battle between Coppers and Passalent for the most points. That should tie it back at 14, so now they're even with 4 points left. I think Doty knows, though, that this is Coppers to bring home. Passalent serve, pass there by Sani. You go back to him on the left. Again, that tip, I mean, it's just amazing. It's not your traditional tip, you know, that we think of sometimes when you think of the ball being tipped. I mean, it's an attack tip.
Yeah.
Right? It's a power tip. And just when you're that high, you can put the ball down above the block into an open spot on the floor. Kodkevich with the kill. Side out Mac. 22-16. Now Coppers will go back to the line. Maybe he can get an ace here to pull ahead of Passalent.
Be very fitting, seeing how well he has served this afternoon.
22-16. Coppers, just long.
And we jinxed him once again.
It's the way that it goes here.
Mac now, though, within threes, he'll have the opportunity to side out to pull within 2 points of a bronze medal. Been siding out really well all afternoon.
Service ace there for Holborn. Still a comfortable position, though, for Mac, 22-18. This is the closest of the 3 sets to this point. The most points Alberta's been able to get, but they need a lot more than just keeping it close. They need this set. Coppers, great pass. Outside, Richards. And a nice block there by Sani. Preston thought that might have been down on the Alberta side, but now he's going to call his first timeout as we're getting a little bit tighter here in this set, 22-19. Mac, though, still in control. Just wanting to slow things down a little bit on their side.
Alberta with a nice little mini run here to get themselves within arm's reach of the Marauders, although time somewhat running out if you're the Golden Bears. Margin of error obviously becoming so much smaller. McMaster's offense all afternoon has just been powerful, hitting, you know, through 2 sets, hitting over 450 as a team. Blocking very, very well. You see the rookie Swan getting involved there with a nice block, and it's just really all been Brandon Coppers in his last game in a Marauder uniform. Been so efficient, as well as Kodkevich.
He's not going to want to take that uniform off, Tom. It'd be hard. It'd be hard to do that the last time. I mean,
we saw some MAC alumni in the stands yesterday in their former MAC jersey, so good to know they're being put to good use after they are done being played in.
Coppers pulls back ahead of Passalent with that kill. He now has 15 points. 23 to 19. It's Kotkevich who will go to the line. Alberta needs a run here. They cannot afford to give up any more points. Kotkevich serve, taken there by Schubert. Middle. And you got to keep in mind, there's another fifth-year player who doesn't want his career to end either. I've even given a lot of attention to the Mac side because they've been winning, right? But on the other side, it's Chambers who, he wants one more set. He doesn't want to end with a loss. 23 to 20, Sani on the line, he can definitely do some damage. Pereira's pass off the net. High ball, Richards. And through the hands of Elgert and Chambers. And one more time, Daft Punk signifies set point, but this time it's bronze medal point. McMaster looking to win their 6th straight USports medal on the home court. It's Doty who will put the serve in play. Pass by Schubert. Elgert, middle to Chambers, and Chambers says, not quite yet. I'm not ready to be done. 24-21, and it'll be McIntyre who will go to the line. And can Paslett maybe get the kill here and tie? To tie Coppers.
He's got
the two teammates have been going back and forth. 24-21, bronze medal point number 2. Richards with the pass. High ball bumps it outside. Paslett gonna go tip it over. McMullen there with the dig. Elgert outside. McMullen power tip. And the McMaster block is on the net. It's Richards who was caught a little bit out of position. And Alberta showing some fight. But we need the floor wipers here to come out and clean things off. As there was a dive on that play. Maybe just a bit of a small timeout too.
Exactly, I was gonna say the old bring out the towel trick.
So here we go, the MAC fans are on their feet. Bronze medal point number 3. Let's see if Alberta can delay. Richards pass off the net. They go back to him on the right. Roll shot, and it falls down, and McMaster, for the 6th straight year, takes a USports medal. Congratulations to the Marauders, head coach Dave Preston, and all of the team on extending the medal streak. The hometown team comes through with the bronze. And another great season for the McMaster Marauders, the hometown fans showing their appreciation and the team showing appreciation for them. Great job, Mac.
A great match as well. Great run by the Alberta Golden Bears, who are no stranger, like we've said many times, to being in this national tournament, to being in the championship round. But the Marauders came out today and they just dominated from the word go. Dave Preston has to be happy with the effort he saw today from his team. Brendan Coppers leading the way in the handshake line. He really was the offensive spark plug for McMaster this afternoon, as well as Andrew Richards and Matt Paslin, both with terrific games this afternoon. We have one more in store coming up after this as well, Jared.
Yeah, we have the biggest one left, and that's what's most exciting. The gold medal game, UBC and Trinity, is those two rivals that go head-to-head. But I just noticed that Preston getting a hug from probably his 2 biggest fans, his 2 daughters. That's a piece that we miss sometimes, is the, that other side, the family side, the commitments they all give up to be a part of all this and all the time that goes into it. But congratulations to McMaster, a well-deserved bronze medal, and they are playing just fantastic volleyball here this weekend. And really, it was a great game last night with Trinity Western, but just came up a little bit short, and they claimed the bronze medal here. And again, a great season for Alberta as well. I think going into that Canada West Final Four, tough opposition against UBC and Winnipeg. They had beaten Alberta, so if those teams were playing at the end, I don't think they really would have wanted to be in that situation potentially, but they went into Vancouver, they beat UBC 2 straight nights to claim their spot here, keep their streak alive of, Alberta, they're at the Nationals. They're a fixture pretty much every year here at this tournament. Coming up a little bit short on a medal this year after winning silver last season. But another great year for them, so congratulations to Coach Davida Kandanaluk. But great job to Mac. This is their moment here right now on the home court, as the teams will line up here on the end line, and we will stay with you, I believe, through this.
First have the player of the game, and I don't want to put a bet on who it might be from McMaster, but I have a good idea. It's number 13, Aaron Chambers, taking it home for the Golden Bears. 7 kills for him today. Go along with a service ace. He's been very dominant in the middle for them all weekend.
Yeah, well-deserved Chambers player of the game. Well, good thing you didn't bet.
I would have put my money on Brendan Coppers, but nonetheless, statistically, Matt Paslund very deserving of the honor. Paslund with 12 kills, 3 aces. Finished 1 point behind Coppers for the lead in the match.
Now we will have the bronze medals being handed out here. So Mac came into the tournament ranked number 5, will leave as number 3, and I think there's some really bright things in their future as they will lose Coppers, who's obviously a huge part of the team, but you know, we saw today ending his career 13 kills, 23 attempts, and 1 error, also with 2 aces and 2 blocks. I mean, really, statistically, it's just a fantastic game, but they are set up very well to continue the dominance of this program. So you see all the players here getting their medals, and well deserved. And I know myself, Tom, I have 2 of those bad boys at home, 2 bronze medals. And they meant a lot to me at the time, absolutely. Especially I remember winning one when we were in Laval, beating Saskatchewan, and how much that meant. And you know, these are things you cherish forever. And obviously, whether you win or lose, you know, medals, you walk away from this experience with a ton of life lessons and valuable memories. But when you have something actually tangible you can put up somewhere and you can look back on it and just kind of takes you back to that moment, you know, because as we get older, our memories get a little bit worse, or sometimes they get better, depending on which way you want to look at it. But you know, when you look back and you can see that, and you have something for it, and you can see that medal and say, you know what, this, what it represents, right? The life experience it represents, being a part of a program, you know, that you're able to win a medal. It's just an incredible experience, and hats off to this team. Mac, they really pushed Trinity. They had Trinity in an uncomfortable situation yesterday, Tom. And you know, I know you said after that first set you were thinking, oh, is this going to happen here? You know, is Trinity going to go down? But you know, Trinity today, they showed their medal there, and today they'll play in that gold medal match against UBC, which should be a fantastic game.
And a great job by Mac just to push through for all 3 sets today. They played a terrific first set yesterday, like you just mentioned, and then unable to keep it going through the next 3, but they played a complete 3-set effort today from start to finish. Absolutely dominated on all ends of the floor. And like we said a few times, just great to win that last match of the year.
All the coaches getting their recognition here. Steve Brinkman, the former captain of our national team, a great player in his own right, one of the best middle blockers Canada has seen the last few years. And head coach Dave Preston. It's got to be an awesome feeling to sit on home court. Congrats to everybody involved, and there's a lot of people involved in this who don't get a medal, who represent everything here with McMaster as well, right? All the support staff and volunteers and everybody involved in this. But congrats to you. Round of applause. Hats off to you. It's nice that I know sometimes in the past they do all the medals at once, but it's kind of nice for the bronze medalist team to kind of get their own moment. Now they could go and celebrate. But that will pretty much wrap up things here for now, Tom. We are going to step aside, and we will be back with everybody at 4 o'clock. So we have really about an hour and a half break here, so everybody can go and recharge the batteries, and they'll get everything prepared for the final. And there's a bit of planning that has to go into that. But congratulations to McMaster, and congratulations to Alberta as well on a great season. We'll step aside for Tom McCabe, Jared Brown. We'll be back with you at 4 o'clock for the USports Men's National Volleyball Championship.